Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial.
Okay, let's go. It's our podcast day.
Yes, it is. It is our podcast day.
All right, that's enough.
Well, you started it. Don't get mad about it. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to our podcast.
Confidently controversial.
That's its name.
What
is it a podcast about?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. We never tell anyone what it's about. We never tell anyone what the intent is. We just assume y'all know.
I know, but you don't, because you might just be jumping in because you saw the name of this movie and you were like, I like that movie. And then you listen to this podcast and you have no idea what's happening.
Right. You're just like, what's going to happen? Who are these people? Well,
what do they know about anything?
And we know nothing about nothing.
Right.
About everything.
So you probably shouldn't listen to turn this podcast off.
But
look away.
We've decided we made this podcast because we are women of a certain age. I'm not allowed to say we're old ladies because your mom gets real mad about it.
She does.
We're women of a certain age who watched a lot of questionable films in our youth. And we've decided that we want to revisit those films and see just what was in them to make our tiny brains hurt bad.
Would you categorize us as cinephiles?
No.
I hate that name. But I think that sometimes when I talk to other people and movies that I just assume everyone has seen, I really do know more about I have no more movies than most people.
We do. I mean, I think that, but I also don't think, there's people that are, and I think about this sometimes when I listen to us talk about things and talk about movies, we could piss a lot of people off with the way we talk about movies.
How so?
Because we don't have a lot of, the tech, you went to film school, we know. But
I was going to say, I do know something about something.
You do.
But I don't talk about movies in that way. But I also feel like there was a way when I was in college that we would talk about movies that was very highbrow and very, pretentious and just, really getting into all the little nooks and crannies of a movie. And we were very judgmental. And when I say we, I mean me and all the people that I went to college with. Sure.
Well, that was your job at the time. That was your goal.
And I do love that part of it. But I also think that there are reasons to love movies that go beyond just all the little technical aspects.
Yeah, I think I thought about this recently when we were watching Dirty Dancing. Because we both really loved it.
Oh, so good.
And we were saying, what a great, overall, we were giving it high marks for, storytelling and everything like that. I would imagine that not many people would agree with that. So I imagine we piss people off in that way sometimes.
But those people, I don't think this is the show for them. If you are someone who is a major film nerd and you are one of those people that, if you are me in college, this is not the show for you.
No. If you just want to learn some random fun facts and hear about us watching movies, then this might be the show for you.
Well, it's funny. So you brought up the Dirty Dancing show.
Yes.
So I was speaking to a group of young people recently.
Okay.
And I was talking about something and I brought up one of the facts that we had learned from that you had brought into the Dirty Dancing episode. And not only did they all know the movie, which I wouldn't think that they would.
Sure.
But they loved the fact that I shared.
Oh, good.
So I feel like...
Which fact was it?
It was how that movie was made because it was... the person who wrote it was a screenwriter and had scenes from another movie that she kind of took. Because I was talking about editing things, and sometimes you have to kill your darlings.
Sure.
So, but those darlings can come back and make Dirty Dancing later.
Yeah.
So we bring the facts, and I think that is a good thing. And we talk about stuff, and you know what?
Yeah.
People like it.
Yeah, they seem to. And we appreciate you for liking it.
Yes, we do.
So thanks for being here on Confidently Controversial. That's the name of the podcast, in case you didn't see that before.
And my name is Emily Paul.
And I'm Kim Tweed.
Yes. So there you go. Everyone's up to speed.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
What's been going on in your life?
Oh, so many things, Kim.
Like what?
I'm hurting myself. I went ice skating.
Oh, right. Because you're not smart.
I mean, I got swept up. I got swept up in a 4-year-old's birthday party.
I get that.
And
I've bounced on my fair share of bounce houses as an adult.
Right.
I understand.
And you probably shouldn't do that.
Right, no.
That's just as dangerous as ice skating. But I went ice skating, and I have to say, I was doing pretty well for a long time. I was doing loops around the thing. I was staying upright. I was starting to glide more.
Okay.
I was doing well, and I was very proud of myself. But then a big wind happened because it was an outdoor skating rink.
I don't understand how wind impacts your ice skating ability, but go on.
Okay, because on the one long stretch, right? So if you imagine,
isn't it a rink? Isn't it round?
It's a rink. It's round
or oval.
Yes. So if you imagine the stretches are the long sides.
Yes.
Right. So the way the wind was, it was a really, really windy day recently.
All right.
And when we were on the one side, you were very just facing the wind. And then when you went around the corner, the wind was at your back.
Okay.
So when the wind was at your back, it was such a strong wind and you're on blades on ice.
Oh, thank you for explaining what ice skating is to me.
It was so strong. It pushed you.
Okay.
So this particular time, and I had been doing great. And I literally had thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to go around 2 more times. And then I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
We're going to call it quits for a while.
Sure.
So I went around, and as I came around the side, all of a sudden a big wind happened.
Okay.
Now, I was not on this...
a big wind.
A big wind, a mighty wind.
Sure.
And I'm not on this ice rink alone. There are many other skaters of all different skill and ability.
Okay.
And most were not at a good ability.
Right, like you.
Myself. So as I came around and this big wind hit, not only am I starting to go faster, but everybody else around me is, and everybody's starting to panic. Because everyone's going too fast.
Okay.
But I'm like, you know what? I'm doing okay. I'm just going to go with it. I'm staying upright. I was doing good. I was weaving around people who were, whatever. And then it was going too fast, and I was getting to the end of the straight and going to have to turn, right? And I thought, I don't know if I can handle that. I'm going too fast into the turn. I'm going to have to bail.
I'm not going to make it.
I'm not going to make it. Let me get to the side.
Okay.
And I guess my plan was to just grab the side.
Sure.
Because that probably would have worked too.
Yeah.
But then what happened was some girl got in front of me. Okay. And then at the last second, and I had to move around her, or else otherwise I would have had to hug into her. Okay. And God knows that I don't want to do that.
No. Okay.
So I fell.
Okay.
Hard.
Yes.
And then I didn't know what to do because I thought I maybe hurt myself. I came down right on my knee and my hip.
Did you fall on your back? You fell on your knees?
My one knee and my hip. I don't know how I did it, but it was on one leg.
Okay.
My knee and my hip.
Okay.
And
this is fascinating.
Well, I didn't know what to do. I laid on the ice cam.
Yes.
We always say that if we were figure skaters in the Olympics and we fell, I would just stay there.
We always say that?
We always say that.
Okay.
I feel like we've talked about that before, of how if we were in the Olympics ice skating in front of all the world to see, and you fell.
Oh, if anything, if I was on television at all and fell, I would just lay.
Right.
And I would say I was hurt way worse. Because that's the only way you can get out of it.
Yes.
That's the only way, by being really hurt. Because you can't, unless you immediately just be pop up.
Ta-da!
And you get the big cheers.
You meant it.
Yeah.
This was a big joke that I fell.
Right.
So I'm fine. But I couldn't get up, Kim, because I was on ice and I didn't know how to, and I didn't know how badly I was hurt.
So, okay. You hadn't fallen any other time?
No.
Okay. And what was your plan? You were just I'm never going to fall, so I don't have to think about how I would get up off of my skates.
I just thought I would be able to get up if I did fall.
Okay. But your body said no.
My body, I didn't know how to do it. I tried to move, and then I was like, this isn't going to happen. And then some man came and got me, and then he just put me on the wall.
Okay.
But then I couldn't.
Did he pick you up like a little baby?
No, he kind of grabbed me up. I don't know what was happening.
He yanked you up.
And then he put me on the wall, and that same girl that I was going to run into, she wouldn't move.
Okay.
So I couldn't get around her. Plus, I was hurt.
Yeah.
But then
How are you now?
I'm still a little hurt.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I still have a big bruise on my knee and my hip.
All right. Yeah. You're going to be okay.
Will I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I was my old leg injury was hurting me this week.
Robinette.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the people why? Why we call your leg Robinette?
Probably not.
Okay.
But no. I had a leg injury a couple of years ago where I basically I don't even know, did I tear the muscle in my calf or
You
something?
were hurt.
I was hurt. Remember how bruised I was from toe to hip?
Did you have a cane or something?
Yes, I had a cane. Yeah, that was a tough time. But I got a little too excited about something and ran down the hallway in my home, and my calf popped. It made a horrible popping sound.
Oh, terrible.
And it was an injury. So, sometimes that boy comes back to roost.
When that happened, did you lay on the ground?
No, I freaked out and went in and told my husband I had to go to the hospital. He was like, what? And
what did they do at the hospital?
I went to urgent care, and then they told me I had to go to the hospital. And then no one helped me, and they made me walk down this long hallway to go get I had to get a test to make sure it wasn't a blood clot.
Oh.
And then it wasn't.
But they didn't tell you what it was.
I'm sure they did, but it was a while ago. And it was in the middle of COVID, I believe, too. So, there were bigger fish to fry.
Bigger leg injuries.
Yeah.
So that's been acting up again?
Yeah, and I don't know. I was sick. I had the norovirus.
Oh.
And that made my whole body hurt. And I think it was part of the injury.
Yeah. I think that's what happens.
When you're going to throw up, your body does some unnatural things. It just drops to the ground and it assumes the position and,
Throwing up is funny to me. And we're not going to talk about it too much, but the aspect of throwing up that's kind of weird is that for all the times that you're like, oh, I think I'm going to throw up, when you are actually about to throw up, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I always maintain that as well. Yes. You're just like, yeah, I'm going to throw up. But most of the time it's not real. But when you know.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, no. That's,
yeah.
And it's a very specific feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens. And then once it happens, you're like, I can't believe that I just threw up.
Right. It's always a surprise.
It is always a surprise.
It's never expected.
Yeah, but I feel like you throw up way more than I do.
I do.
Yeah. It's been years since I threw up.
Really?
Oh, my God. I haven't thrown up in years.
Oh, my God. The norovirus, whatever I had, I threw up pretty much every hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
For about 10 hours.
You had the beast.
And I was hurting, and you know how that thing, that feeling that radiates through your arms where you're just I don't know, paralyzed.
Well, I'm glad you're better now.
Yeah, I'm better now. I mean, I'll never get over it, but I'm better. A little.
Well, that's good.
I'm sickness, cold, falling, all good things to talk about.
We're falling apart. It's basically what we want to share. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Today, it's my pick.
It is.
To talk about a movie.
Right.
And I want to get to it.
All right.
I'm excited to watch this movie today.
Better have picked a good one.
I mean, you're never happy with what I pick.
I know. That's kind of my thing.
I know. All right. So this is a movie that truly captured my imagination as a child.
Okay. Did you practice that?
No, I just came up with it. I just said it.
It captured your imagination?
It did. Because
okay, Figment.
Yeah, but it's not a mythical, magical movie at all.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie that came out in 1987. Mm-hmm. We were 10.
We were.
But we did not see this in the movie theater because I don't think that we should have. In fact, I don't even know what this film is rated.
Oh.
But it's not a children's movie.
Okay.
Whatsoever. And yet still, it captured my imagination. This is a movie that's based on a book. Uh-huh. That was published in 1982, so not long before this movie came out. And it's about a dystopian future set in, you guessed it, 2025.
Oh, no.
Yes. So that is what this film is actually a loose adaptation of that original work. In the movie, so apparently the movie takes place in 2017 to 2019. Uh-huh. But you know what? Because the book is 2025...
Let's say 2025.
We're going to say 2025.
Which is now.
It's happening right now, this book. And in a lot of ways, I think we're going to say, maybe it is.
Okay.
Maybe it is. So this movie is based on a Richard Bachman book. Do you know who Richard Bachman is?
No.
Okay. Richard Bachman is actually Stephen King.
Oh.
So Stephen King, early in his career, he he produced like this series of books under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. And he did this for a couple of reasons. So one of the reasons was that publishers at the time generally didn't want to put out more than one book a year from the same author because it would just flood the market too much. So they just didn't want to do that. And also because Stephen King was pretty famous already by this point. Yeah. And he kind of wanted to tell if people were buying his books because of his brand or because of his writing. Okay. So he called it, in one forward to one of his books, he called it, he wanted to test if it was talent or if it was luck. Okay. That was really what was driving people to buy these.
And you know what allows you to do that the most? Money.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. So he did this, and he put out some books under this name, Richard Bachman, to kind of test it. But for example, I guess he never really figured out 100%. He never really got an answer to it. It was figured out.
Oh, pretty quickly.
Not that quickly, though. It took a little bit. But, do you ever hear his book Thinner? Mm-hmm. Like, that was a Richard Bachman. Okay. When he put it out as Bachman, it sold 28,000 copies in its first release. But then when people found out that he was actually the writer, it sold 10 times as much. Okay. So, he does have that brand.
Yeah,
and you know what?
He still does.
Yeah. Own it. Own it, Stephen King. We're behind you in that. It's funny, though. The pseudonym that he originally selected was Gus Pillsbury. Okay. Which is his maternal grandfather's name.
Neither one are good.
You don't like Richard Bachman?
No.
Well, it came from, Richard, I guess, came from there's a character in a book named Richard Stark.
That's where he got
Bachman. Richard. Well, Bachman is from Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Yeah, that's what I thought of immediately.
Because he was listening to that music at the time, and he had to pick something quick, so he's like, Richard Bachman. Which kind of...
I think by the end of this episode, you should come up with your pseudonym.
Okay.
Your fake name that you will publish under.
Why, I have one.
Oh.
I have a last name that I've used before, and I've done it to test things. Like, when you sign up for some things, sometimes I would put a different name, and I still get stuff. Okay. I'll get texts sometimes that are to this name. Okay. And it's Emily Pezblack.
Well, that's terrible. Pezblack?
Pezblack.
It's not a last name.
I know, it's a pseudonym.
It's not.
It's Pezblack.
Oh, of the
Cape May County Pezblacks.
Okay. Okay.
Do you have a pseudonym?
No, not as good as that one. My pseudonym is Limweed.
Your pseudonym is Limweed. It's a pretty good one. Huh. Now, do you have any idea what?
No.
Okay.
Is it a scary movie?
It was definitely. It's an action-y. It's a dystopian future, Kim.
It sparks your imagination.
Well, I feel like it was something as a kid that I was just like, this is kind of interesting. Okay. The premise of it was interesting to me as a kid. Okay. So it depicts a future where the United States has become a totalitarian state. All right. With a collapsed economy. Uh-huh. And a government that controls television, media, and communication. Okay. Sound familiar?
Oh, Jesus.
This film stars, and I don't think we've had him on the podcast yet, and if you tell me we haven't, I've completely forgotten. I'm just going to feel sad that my brain doesn't work anymore. Okay. But this film stars the one and only Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
Has he been on our podcast yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No.
Yeah. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's coming to the pod today. And let me also say this before and see if this gives any, helps you think of what this movie is. This movie actually also inspired a big time TV show from when we were kids, American Gladiators.
Oh, okay.
Did you like American Gladiators?
I did. I mean, my dad liked it, I think.
I loved it because it was on Saturday morning. So I feel like there would be cartoons and then there would be American Gladiators.
It would come on after. Yeah.
I
Natural
enjoyed
progression. Yeah, I mean, it was good.
It was good.
It was interesting. It was nothing. It was like nothing we'd ever seen before, I think.
Well, if you didn't see this movie.
Yeah, what is this movie called?
This movie is called The Running Man.
Oh, they just remade this movie.
It's coming out.
With Ryan Gosling?
No.
Is Harrison Ford in this?
No, you're thinking of a completely different thing.
Oh.
You're thinking of Blade Runner.
So wait, is this the movie that I said was? Remember recently you told me that like whatever movie was number one on your 10th birthday, is like how your 2025 is going to be or something like that.
This movie, I don't know if it would have been number one on your 10th birthday. It came out around then. It came out in November.
Yeah. Remember, and
of that year.
Yeah, you sent me a thing that was like, if you look up whatever movie was number one on your 10th birthday, whatever that movie is the theme for your 2025. And it was The Running Man.
And this movie, and it's set in 2025.
Weird.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's going to be like looking in a mirror.
It might be. But yeah, they are actually remaking this. It's coming out this November.
With who?
So the star of the new one is going to be Hottie Bobati Glenn Powell.
Oh, okay. He's in everything. He's so hot right now.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
You've seen stuff with him in it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too. Let him be in this movie.
Sure.
Josh Brolin's also going to be in the new one. Lee Pace, who I really love, you don't see why I love him.
Lee Pace?
Lee Pace.
I don't know who that is.
He's really tall.
Okay.
He's gay.
He's in the new one?
He's hot. He's in the new one.
Okay.
And then William H. Macy, Michael Cera, and Sean Hayes.
Nice.
Is going to be in the new one.
Wow, weird. Good for him.
None of those people are in this version of the movie. So this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. The only other person that's in this movie that I guess there's a few people in this movie that you might actually recognize as well. Did you watch, when you were a kid, did you watch Family Feud?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the original host, Richard Dawson? Mm-hmm. So he is in this movie as well.
Okay. As himself?
Kind of, because he's hosting the show.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same.
Okay.
I do remember him from this movie. One thing that was kind of interesting with this is that apparently him and Arnold Schwarzenegger were lifelong friends. Like, even before this movie, they were friends.
Okay.
Like, through his entire life.
How do you feel about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Well, I've been thinking about him a lot lately because I've been watching White Lotus.
And you can't tell me about that. But
I won't, but you know that his son is.
Yes, and everyone's making a big deal about it because the son claims that he did not get the role because he's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. And other people are like, yeah, okay.
Well, I also think that not helping his son is the fact that the character he plays in this movie is like super asshole.
Oh.
I won't tell you any more than that. But he is like, I mean, most of the people, if you've watched other White Lotus, people are pretty like unlikable.
Yeah.
And he is certainly unlikable in this movie. But you do, But
yes, I know. I know what you say. I know what you say.
But, he does look a lot like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. So my feelings toward Arnold Schwarzenegger, I feel he's very good looking.
Oh, like, no.
Young
what?
Young Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, was very good looking.
Oh.
And when so we went to high school with my husband.
Yeah.
So before I knew who my husband was, like, because he came in from our high school combined a few different schools.
If you say this thing that I think you're going to say, I'm leaving.
Well, you're going to have to leave. Because in my mind, the first time I ever laid eyes on my husband as a freshman in high school, I categorized him in my head as that kid that looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I did. But I wasn't I didn't like him my freshman year. Like, I didn't have a crush on Alex or anything.
Okay, guys, I wish that you could understand what she just said. Because her husband, now, then, at any time, never has looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger
because I think it's like the eyebrows, like the nose, like the jaw.
The bodybuilding.
No, not the bodybuilding. But at the time, I remember that was my very, very first impression of my husband.
Okay.
Was that he kind of looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. Does he know?
He might know. Now he does.
Okay.
He definitely does now.
Alex, I disagree.
I mean, I'm sorry. If you look at, I was looking at young pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger for research as part of this movie. First of all, he does look very much like his son.
Okay. I don't think he's hot at all.
You don't?
No. Really? Never have I ever considered for 1 second that he's hot.
Really?
Never.
Because you don't like a big meaty man.
No. And I feel like whenever I picture him, I just picture his shoulders and his neck. Mm-hmm. And they're large. Like that character from He-Man that would, like, ram into walls, battle ram or whatever, and it's just, like, all shoulders and neck.
Okay.
And I don't like it.
All right,
and
I'm going to need you to look at
feels a little meaty.
Yeah.
And he's not handsome.
No?
No.
All right, I'm going to need you to look at
I don't like a light-haired person, do I? Do I have any light-haired boyfriends?
Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
yes.
I didn't care for them.
Well, I think that he's attractive.
Okay.
And I'm going to assign you the task
of trying to think he's attractive.
While we're watching this movie, or maybe later tonight, going on your phone and doing a little research yourself into a young Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And also tell me that a young Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't look kind of like my husband.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
You just can't, I think you just can't see beyond the muscles.
Okay.
Okay. So in this movie, there's this idea in this movie that the most popular television program is The Running Man, and it's a game show where prisoners called runners must escape death at the hands of professional killers known as stalkers.
Okay.
So think American Gladiators.
Yeah.
Also think, I guess, Squid Game. I haven't seen Squid Game.
I haven't either.
But I think it's similar to this. I think that's a similar presence. My feelings towards Squid Game are like, I never need to see that.
No.
I have no desire.
I know very little about it, and there's something about, like, trying to cut out, like, a little triangle or something like that. That's all I know about it.
It seems very, like, anxiety. And I don't need that. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, so it was like a reality show, I guess, this game show?
Right. And this movie is kind of credited with foreseeing the rise of the reality show.
Okay.
It was directed by Paul Michael Glaser, who you may know as Starsky from the original Starsky and Hutch.
We may know him.
You may know him. Arnold was not happy with how he wasn't the first choice as director. It seems like it bounced around a little bit.
Okay.
But Arnold was not happy with how he directed the movie and felt like he approached it like a TV show. Okay. Which, like, it's about a TV show. So I'm not sure what the problem is here, but I guess maybe when we watch it, we will.
Did it do well?
It did okay. Like, it grossed $38 million on a $27 million budget.
All right.
It opened to some mixed reviews. Mm-hmm. This version is not as faithful to the book. Like, apparently the one that's coming out later this year is much more faithful to the book than this one is. But it did okay. You might be thinking to yourself right now, what did Ebert say?
I always wonder that.
I always wonder that as well. So he gave the movie 2.5 stars out of 4. Okay. And he complained that all the action scenes are versions of the same scenario, but he did praise Dawson's performance, stating that he has found at last the role he was born to play.
Richard Dawson.
Good for him. So, and maybe that's why as a kid I liked this movie. It's almost like a video game in my recollection of it, where you're going against different bosses throughout the movie. Uh-huh. And
that was very much like the video games of our youth.
And they did make this into a video game.
Okay.
It was adapted into that.
Okay.
Some other people in this movie are just little well-known facts. So there is a cameo by Dweezil Zappa in this, as well as Mick Fleetwood. Okay. And Mick Fleetwood's character is also named Mick, and there's speculation that he's playing a version of himself, like as if he survived in this dystopian future and he is in this movie. So we're going to have to look out for him. Another notable thing. So it's a TV show. Mm-hmm. There's a dance sequence at the beginning of the TV show that is choreographed by Paula Abdul.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll have to check that. We'll have to check that out.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I am very excited about it.
You watched this?
I watched this as a kid.
You did?
Yes. I know that my brother and I definitely watched this movie. And when I say it captured my imagination, this idea of having to fight for your life and being like hunted.
Made you a little nervous?
It made me a little nervous, but also like a little bit intrigued. And like I said, it was very much that boss battle kind of a thing. And the bosses that they go up against all have different things about them. Okay. You know?
Is Arnold Schwarzenegger a prisoner, or is he a seeker, or whatever they're called?
He's the prisoner in this movie.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll find out. There's like a whole thing. There's a whole thing of how he got to be where he is. But, which is a little bit different than the book.
Okay.
But that's
and he's not a robot.
No, that's a different movie, Ken. He's just
a human.
He's just a human.
Okay.
Who's becomes the running man.
Okay.
In this movie. So talking about how things that it may have correctly predicted. Mm-hmm. So Reed Tucker of the New York Post said in a 2019 film about it that it correctly predicted the widening gap between the rich and the poor. Mm-hmm. in this movie, and also kind of predicted the societal obsession with reality TV. Mm-hmm. And I told you how it inspired American Gladiators. Yeah. And actually, when the producers of that show pitched it to the studio bosses, what they said was they showed them clips from this movie, and they said, "So we're going to do this, except not the murdering part."
Okay. And not the prisoner part.
Not the prisoner part.
Okay.
Yeah, just strong people.
Okay.
Just fit people.
Sure. With funny names.
With funny names. Uh-huh. Right. Another just one more thing. Okay. And this is specifically about Arnold Schwarzenegger because I was doing a little bit of research about him as part of this. I found
research.
Yes, research. Mm-hmm. I found out his favorite movie of all time. What do you think his favorite movie of all time is? You'll never guess.
Wait.
Okay.
It is his favorite movie of all time is Casablanca.
Close. Titanic.
Ew.
I know. If
he doesn't like that.
That's what he's quoted as saying. That's his favorite movie of all time.
I picked an old movie because I thought, he's a classic kind of guy.
Can you just imagine him just sitting in a chair at home with a big cigar, watching Titanic, just crying.
Aw,
crying
poor guy.
At the end. I know.
So sad and strong.
So you did never have seen this movie?
I've never seen this movie. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know anything about it.
Okay. I mean, I have not seen it since I was much younger. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of very good memories about it.
Okay.
So in terms of, I really, really liked it as a kid. Uh-huh. And I know that my brother and I talked about it a lot.
I'd like to know what it was rated, so let's try to find that out.
Okay, to see if you're allowed to watch it?
Yeah, just my mom.
Okay. All right, well, you ready to go see it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Controversial. Confidently controversial.
Okay.
We're back.
We're back.
Oh my gosh. What did I have to know what you thought? No?
I mean...
Oh, I loved it.
You did?
Oh my gosh. It is a quintessential Arnold Schwarzenegger film.
Yeah.
And I get that he has a certain thing about him, but it's fun. He's got his little fun one-liners in there.
Okay, so here's my theory. And this may be controversial.
Well, that's the name of the show, Kim.
So I think that Arnold Schwarzenegger,
sure,
he is a person who they wanted to make famous.
Sure.
And he, at this point in his career, barely speaks any words of English.
I think he spoke plenty of English.
I don't know that he does.
He has a heavy accent.
He has a very thick accent. So they could not get too much on film that was like a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue. Like, I bet if you strung together all of the things that he says in this movie, 10 probably pages. Less. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He does not say a lot. A lot of it is very like flippant, like.
Yes, I'll be back.
Yeah, he says, I'll be back. And he says, like,
it's like little,
check this out. And
yeah,
like just weird, like
funny little puns,
throw off lines. Yeah. And then sometimes too many of them. Like, he killed one guy and he said two different like pun lines to kill him off. Like, and there's no elaboration in like his storyline or backstory because he's not able to provide any context for it because they don't give him much dialogue.
No, a brilliant actor, no.
It's nothing against his acting. It's just that, like somebody was trying to make something out of this guy. Like, this is a great, like, American actor story.
Well, I think if you ever, I've heard him more recently on some podcasts because he put out a book not long ago. Like, he did like a memoir, and I think he was making the rounds with the memoir. And he's also, he does all kinds of stuff still.
Sure.
But he is, if you hear his actual story, it's very inspiring.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And I'm not saying this in a bad way.
I mean, you hate Arnold Schwarzenegger. I feel it.
I mean, he's not my favorite, but I don't hate him. And I appreciate that they took someone with very little and were just like, we're going to make this guy a star. And they achieved it.
Well, I think you have to remember that he was famous in that bodybuilding world before all of this happened.
Yes, I know that.
And they were like, this guy, we got to put him into movies. So, yeah, I think they were like, this guy can't really talk very well, but we're going to give him some zingers. And that's going to be his thing.
Yeah, he has the longest jawline we've ever seen in our entire lives. We've got to get this guy in the movies.
Look at that physique. Let's get him out there. Let's put a machine gun in his hands and let him go.
Yeah.
Put him out there. Well, let's talk about the movie, just the movie. Now, if you recall, Ebert's thing was that all of these fights everything's kind of the same. Now, I enjoy the premise. I feel like it reminds me very much of a video game.
It is very much a video game.
Where you have these bosses and you go from boss battle to boss battle. I was saying that it always reminded me that game, which I saw this movie before I played the game, Mega Man. Which was a Nintendo game. And Mega Man was exactly this.
Well, it's
you
like
had all these different bosses.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Contra.
Yeah, anything where there's a boss.
And then what's the other one? Street Fighter.
Sure.
Yeah, like they're all it's all very this.
And I love how they all have different things about them.
Yeah, so they, and I see, so I want to know more, and I don't know how much you know about, like, the direct connection between this and American Gladiator. Like, this is definitely from this.
Gladiators is a very direct connection from this movie. They, like I said, they literally, when the producers of American Gladiators pitched American Gladiators to the studio, they said, look at this movie.
Okay.
This is what we're going to do.
Okay.
Except we won't be killing anyone.
Okay. So the premise of this movie is that Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's in the military. He's like a military cop.
Yeah, he's a cop, something. I think.
He's a cop. And at the beginning, he's driving a helicopter, and he is over a protest area, and he's basically like, yeah, it's fine. They're unarmed.
They're just trying to get food.
Right. They're just people trying to get food. And he's given direct orders that he has to kill them anyway. And he's like, fuck that. I'm not doing it.
Right. Exactly.
And they get mad.
Because the government's like, no, they're protesters, take them all out.
You have to take out any protesters, no matter what they're protesting.
And if they're women or children or whomever.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm not going to do it. And then he's basically strong-armed by the people on his helicopter, and some people are killed. And he is taken off to prison. And they're like, you're going to fry for this.
And it sounds like so what they ultimately did was they blamed him to say that he was this rogue cop and he was the one who murdered all of these protesters.
Right.
And they called him the Butcher of Bakersfield. Yeah. And he was so then cut to him carrying an I-beam in a prison camp.
Yeah, with some friends.
He's got some friends. He's made some allies in camp.
And then they break out.
They do.
And then he goes to see his brother. Mm-hmm. And his brother doesn't live there anymore. And this woman named Amber lives there.
Yeah, she sure does. And what is she doing when we meet her?
She's, Amber is exercising. And she's exercising in her negligee teddy and her pantyhose. Can you imagine sweating in pantyhose on purpose?
Can you imagine, like, moving around in lace like that?
Yeah.
The shaping.
Yeah, just not.
And it had like a little like fringy skirt.
Yeah, and it was like the kind that doesn't like stick to cover your butt. It just hangs over your butt. So like she's doing those push-ups and her hiney's fully out.
But she's hot. Like, she's in
I mean,
shape.
she looks great.
Yeah, so whatever she's doing, keep doing it.
So that's how he meets Amber. And then he kidnaps her and is going to use her travel barcode.
Her travel pass, yeah.
Because in the future you need a travel barcode.
I mean, kind of now you need a travel document to get anywhere. But,
True.
In the future, it's just a barcode. They don't need to see your picture with it or anything.
No,
they
just need to scan your code.
But you can't travel anywhere, like, outside of all these zones, like, in America.
So he still takes her with him.
Yeah, he takes her with him, but when they get to the airport, she kind of, when she sees other, like, police there, she kind of yells, like, oh, this is the butcher from Bakersfield, he's kidnapped me. So immediately he gets caught. He gets caught. But all the while, we are introduced to this TV show, The Running Man. And I agree that, what's his name? Richard Dawson
did a great job.
So good in this movie.
Yeah, he really did a good job.
But you know what I read when I was doing my research for this was that the way that he treats the people on his staff, which isn't very nice. It's like nice to their face, but then he's also kind of a jerk. Apparently he was like that in real life. In real life. Now, you didn't watch when he was on The Family Feud, or did you?
I mean, I've seen it, yeah.
Do you remember my grandma?
He would always smooch.
He would always smooch. And you remember my grandma used to watch it all the time, so I watched it there. And they introduced this special thing that he had, which was like a lollipop tree. And one person from the family got to pick, like whoever won the showdown could pick from the lollipop tree. And it was just like Dum Dums lollipops all over it. And if there was like a little... you could win an extra money or something would be on there, depending on the dum-dum you picked.
That was a game at like this carnival thing I used to go to. Like if it was black on the bottom, then you won a prize.
Yeah.
But it was Tootsie Roll Pops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar.
Okay.
Similar. But I as a child, loved that part.
So it seems like a lot of the television programming that's on in this dystopian future is like these types of game shows, because we see a commercial for one that's called like Climbing for Dollars.
Yeah.
And basically this guy's like climbing a rope.
Like in gym class.
While dogs try to bite him.
Yeah, a bunch of Doberman.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, and then they have Jesse Ventura, who is Mr. America or something.
Yeah, so the show that the Running Man show has, it's very much like a big deal. It's like the biggest program on TV, #1 in all the ratings, but they haven't had quite as many good ratings recently. So they're looking for a way to amp things up.
And I did enjoy, so they're talking about how they pick, so essentially on the Running Man show, they get a prisoner, an enemy of the state, someone like that, and that person's the Running Man. And then the Running Man's kind of out there in this playing field while they run into these different bosses. And the bosses get picked by the people in the audience.
Right, that's the thing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Whoever pitched, whoever, what else would you call them?
I don't know.
But whoever
they're like the heroes
of the show. Yeah, it's like the gladiators. It's like American gladiators.
Yeah. So like somebody in the audience gets to choose, like they pull them up, basically like Let's Make a Deal style. And they pull the person up and they're like, okay, who are you going to pick to go in against Ben or whatever.
And they all have their favorite guys.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember from American Gladiators, because it was the same thing where you had all these different gladiators, these strong, really strong men and women. And they had, I don't remember who picked them. I don't remember if the contestants got to pick who they went against.
I don't think so. I think it was just like on different things you went against different people, right?
I don't know. I feel like you got to pick. But
anyway, so there's this whole show. They have like a whole dance ensemble that happens in the beginning. Like it's a very big deal, and it has a live studio audience as well. And then, they get to come and pick the gladiator.
And as they're watching, as they're watching what's happening out in the field. The dancers, so I mentioned before, Paula Abdul did all the choreography in this, which is very Abdulian choreography. But the outfits that these ladies wear as they're dancing, it's a kind of a typical dance uniform with a leotard with a thong, like over a little leotard regular panty, but it has back thong and front thong.
Yes.
It's a full thong.
It's pretty much the Borat bathing suit.
Yes.
But on top of another pair of gotchis.
Yes. 100%. And they're dancing around, and the whole time Kim and I were very uncomfortable. Or at least I was. I can't speak for you.
No, that was fine.
It was very uncomfortable. It seemed
even like when they introduce the prisoner, like the dancers are all involved, and they're like caressing his face and being like sparkle hands around him and stuff like that.
Like you're never going to get this, prisoner.
Right.
But they do say that there is the possibility of winning this for the prisoner.
Yeah.
So if the prisoner goes through and wins, then they'll get to go on a sunny island.
Yeah, and their debt is paid, and they're free of their societal debt, so they're good to go. But okay, but then so the way they get started out is they get onto Space Mountain. And they get into
but it's like a single Space Mountain
car with and
they go to like a luge, like a
bobsled through time and space.
Yeah, I don't understand where the gameplay is done.
Yeah, and then they get dumped out into this like hellhole.
Yes.
And then whoever they're fighting against also gets put in there. But it's funny because they let the audience member pick who is going to be on the show, but at the same time, like the other guys aren't ready. So
everyone's just kind of watching the show because I guess there's the possibility that like you're not working that night.
Yeah. But you can get called in at any time. But then like, so the first one she picks Charlie's mom from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes. Miss
Yvonne is actually the woman from the audience that gets to pick the first one, and she picks Sub-Zero.
Yeah, she does.
And Sub-Zero's special skill?
It's hockey.
Yeah. Hockey, guys. It's hockey. Like they like basically like Ben and his prisoner friends who were also there somehow. They like start walking and they're like, "Oh, it's cold."
Yeah.
And then
are we walking on ice?
Then they're on ice, and then the guy comes out and starts hockey pucking at them.
Yeah, they're like bomb pucks.
Yeah.
And his hockey stick is like a blade.
Yeah.
That he can just slice your head off with.
Yeah. And then he gets killed.
Well, I do want to say that I feel this movie, you really do have to give it props for the diversity of casting. And they really don't play into stereotypes because the gentleman who plays Sub-Zero, now you think hockey, I'm thinking some big brawny Canadian's going to be out there.
It's
but
not.
It's not. It's like a Polynesian man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Asian, Polynesian.
Something.
Yes.
But not a typical person that you would think would be out there playing hockey. And I got to say, for the 80s,
okay,
that's pretty good.
Sure,
they did a good job.
Yeah, and they didn't.
The lead lady is of Hispanic origin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think they did pretty well. They mixed it up.
So Sub-Zero gets killed.
He does.
And then they call in.
But everybody in the audience, like, you can tell this does not happen very often.
No, someone dies.
Yeah, someone always dies, but it's usually the prisoner. It's not usually these bosses.
Right. So everyone's really getting into it. And then they pick, and they, like, go in for a tag team with Buzzsaw, whose thing is chainsaws.
Yes, which I think is a terrible weapon for battle.
Okay.
Because you have to be real close. It's up close battle.
And Dynamo, who's electric but also sings opera.
He does.
He can electrocute you, but he also sings very well.
He sings very well, and that actor actually did, and I mentioned while we were watching, the gentleman who played Dynamo passed away very young. He was only in his like mid-30s. Okay. He passed away very young. I don't even know if this movie had come out officially yet. It was like 3 months after it was made.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Buzzsaw gets killed and he gets chainsawed up the middle.
Up the wazoo.
Up the wazoo.
Right up the old gooch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the other guy he's driving like a mini cyber truck.
Yes.
that is kind of like a go-kart, but looks like it's outfitted like a cyber truck.
Yes, it's very angular.
Yeah, and he basically drives around in that, and
he flips and gets stuck, and Arnold Schwarzenegger could kill him.
Yes, but he doesn't. He honks him. Honk.
He shows him mercy.
That's right.
And he says, I'm not killing a defenseless man.
Right.
So he doesn't kill him.
So that's when the tide starts to change a little bit.
And the audience is like, okay.
We see you, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And all along, you also see, not in the studio, but outside the studio, there's all the hoi polloi are out there, and they're placing bets.
Are they but also the poor people are placing bets.
They're the poor people. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Hoi polloi.
Why use the word? Why you got to point out my dumbness?
I'm just asking. I was trying to figure it out.
I meant the riffraff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the
I think
word.
hoi polloi is
highfalutin?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, we'll look it up.
Hoi polloi.
Well, when you say it like that. But they're all out there placing their sports bets throughout, which very DraftKings today. It would be the DraftKings of today.
Okay, sure.
They're out there placing their sports bets. And you see, at this point, they start actually betting on Arnold Schwarzenegger to win.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So so now you see people are kind of like, what's up with this guy?
Right.
So then they send in
Fireball.
Yes.
And Fireball's the coolest one.
You think so? I was going to ask you which one you thought was the coolest.
He's the coolest one because of his hair. He's got like the skunk stripes.
So he's your favorite boss?
He's my favorite boss, I think. But he does have a flamethrower, which Emily also does not care for as a weapon.
I just think that, like, you have to be within a certain distance to inflict
but it has an arc to it. I mean, he showed it. It could get you.
It could get you. You'd have to be in an enclosed... You'd have to corner your victim and then use it. But until then, you're not just
pew-pewing with that thing.
No, and you can't be really up close, because if it's hand-to-hand, how are you getting that unwieldy tank and everything together?
But he also flies, too. He's got, like, jetpacks.
And his little legs dangle when he flies.
So he jetpacks around, but then he also gets killed.
He does. Mm-hmm. And so he gets killed, but before he gets killed, what they discover in an abandoned locker room is the dead bodies of the people that they told everyone that were winners.
Yes.
And I think did we mention why that lady ended up in there with them? Or did we mention that she's in there? So the woman that he
Amber.
Amber, she ends up like, she's starting to wonder what's going on here, because she watches, after the whole thing happens with her, she watches a television broadcast on the news that's saying how they caught they caught Arnold Schwarzenegger at the airport, and he had kidnapped someone, but they lied and said that he killed all of these people there, which she knows isn't true. So she's watching and she's like, that's a lie. So she starts to, and she works at the studio. She writes music at the studio. Mm-hmm. So she's there. So she's kind of going through some old microfiche, old video, and she comes across the unedited footage of when he was in the helicopter and how he didn't, but she didn't even see it then. But before she can watch it, some people kind of catch her, and the producer of the show, he's like, "Oh, this is great. Let's get her out there too. Throw her in the game." So she's out there too.
Oh, and also they're wearing like suits. They're wearing these like skin tight suits that are like color blocked. Like one arm is one color and then half of the other arm is another color.
Yeah, they look like almost like they're made out of wetsuit material.
Yes, they're very shiny and very tight, and they do not look nice on all bodies.
Not on all bodies. Mm-hmm. On some bodies they look okay.
Ugh, no, they don't.
Kim really does not like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm not attracted to him like you are. I can't even believe that you are. Like, really, I can't. I thought it was just a known thing that we were not attracted to people that look like that.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you.
So, like, if you met Arnold Schwarzenegger and you were married and he wasn't married, you would try to hit on him?
Kim, he's 77 years old. So I would not.
I don't care. You would try to hit on him. You love him.
If I was in a time machine.
Yes.
And I went back in time.
And you were both the same age.
And we were both the same age, but not the age I am now. Like, we were both, like, a little younger. Like, we were both peak.
Okay.
Okay. And we met up.
Hell
yeah.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
All right. So moving on. So they kill all the people, but in the midst of all of this, because the other criminal buddies, they die, but they were with the resistance, which is led by Mick Fleetwood.
Right.
Who is definitely playing Mick Fleetwood, but in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Dweezil Zappa's there. Yeah, he's there too. But so they want to jam the frequency so they can play footage.
Yes.
And they realize that they can figure it out before their criminal buddies die. They figure out that they can, and they tell the lady the code to do it. Kim, because I was like, there's never a million years could I remember this code. But Kim, what is the code?
182461B 17174.
So I just want everyone to know that in the future, when there needs to be resistance and you need to have some people with skills on your side, go for Kim Tweed. She's good. She's good. Keep her alive. You need her. You need her.
You need me.
She's the only one who can remember a code like that.
Someone's going to be like, that's not what the code was.
It was. But she, so they do end up finding Mick Fleetwood. They give him the code, and they end up showing the video, the unedited video of Arnold Schwarzenegger not being the one who wanted to kill the people.
Right. And then everybody in the audience starts getting shot at, and society starts to break down, and it all starts to fall apart.
And then they put Richard Dawson in the
Space Mountain,
the singular Space Mountain, and they send him down the chute,
and he explodes.
The end. Yeah, and then I think he ends up with Amber in the end.
Yeah,
he says
he smooches Amber.
Yeah, he does.
Mm-hmm. But, I forgot to say this, too. When they introduce Amber onto the game show, like, no one else got this kind of introduction, but basically they're like, yeah, she cheated in college and she sleeps around.
Well, because they had to justify it to the audience.
They had to give
why.
Her, like,
everyone else is a criminal.
Right.
But she's not really a criminal yet.
They're like, she's just a slut.
She's a whore. Put her in the sheet. Right. And everyone's like,
kill her.
Yeah. That whore. Yeah, I think it was pretty great. Oh, and then Jesse Ventura's there.
Oh, yeah, Jesse Ventura. He is Captain Freedom.
And they end up faking, before all this happens, when they show up in the studio and they jam the frequency. Mm-hmm. They
deep fake the fight at the end and make it look like Jesse Ventura actually killed Arnold.
But he didn't.
He didn't really.
But that's going to happen now.
Yes, that can happen
now. Can happen now. Mm-hmm. How do you think that this movie, so this is supposed to be a view of our future, mm-hmm. of our now, not even our future. Mm-hmm. How do you think what do you think they got right?
Not very much.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, no. They were still using corded phones.
The hair, too. All the ladies had very teased 80s hair.
Yeah.
As if to say, in the future, the hair will stay the same because this is the best that women's hair can ever be.
This is it, guys. We're going to do it for the next 50 years.
We figured out a curled bang.
Right.
This is what we're doing. Right. Looks great.
The height of sophistication.
Well, I mean, I do think that reality TV show, reality TV did not really exist because, I mean, when did The Real World come out? I think The Real World was the first reality show.
Yeah.
And then you had Survivor.
Yeah.
Which is similar to this in some ways.
Yeah, this was a little Hunger Games-y, I said. Because you have, like, all the people watching the other people die.
Yeah, Squid's Game.
Yes, the game belonging to the squids.
The squid game. It was like that, but I feel like you definitely had, people cheering for things that were, being like, look the other way, look at this thing, and don't worry about how terrible your life is and how terrible.
And there's questionable things happening in the media, and you don't know what is real and what is not real. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. It's just like today. Yeah,
and the other thing, because we talked about this is because your husband came in, and as your husband's always like, what movie are you guys watching today? Because he is interested in that part of it. And when we said what movie it was, he was like, oh, like, good movie. So this is definitely a movie like that. And I've heard Dax Shepard talks a lot about, like, when he was younger, he was just fascinated with men's bodies and, muscly things. And I do feel like there is this thing with boys that they want to have these big, because when we were younger, we were not into, I mean, I agree with you. Like, I was not, when I was very young, into Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. Just happened now.
Today.
It's new. Okay.
I mean, it's new. I'm figuring it out.
All right. I'll give you your space.
I appreciate it. Yeah, but I do think that there is this thing about these big, strong men that can just beat people up, and he doesn't really say a lot, but he just gets out there and he just beats people up.
Okay.
It's great.
Is it?
I liked it.
All right.
I mean, it is, for what it is.
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, I'll watch the remake. Glenn Powell.
I'm gonna watch the remake.
Yeah.
Glenn
we
Powell.
should go see it together.
Oh my God, do you want to go see the movies?
Maybe.
I'll do it.
Okay.
November? What else are we doing?
I have nothing.
Okay. Let's go. We might even get our husbands to go.
Yeah.
No, we don't want them to go.
I don't know. They might ruin it. I wonder what the suits are going to look like.
I hope exactly the same.
Me too. All right.
Okay.
You have anything else?
I don't have anything else to say. Do you have anything else you would like to share?
No, but did you do your connection?
Kim, I did my homework this time. You're so proud of me.
I am.
All right, so you want to hear how this movie connects to Kurt Russell?
I do, yes, because he's the man of the season.
He's the man of the season.
We didn't really explain that earlier in the episode, but we do connect all our movies to someone every season. And this season, it's Kurt Russell.
Yes, every single movie, we are going to figure out a way to connect it to Kurt Russell.
Sure.
To pay him the homage that he deserves.
That's correct.
Right. So this movie, I'm going to have to start with Arnold.
Yeah.
I got to do it. So Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the movie True Lies with a Miss Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
And Jamie Lee Curtis was in the 1981 movie Escape from New York with Kurt Russell. Curtis had a small role as the voice of the computer. But she was there, baby. And they connect.
Okay. They connect.
It counts.
Yeah, sure, it counts.
It counts.
It counts. You don't seem sure yourself, but I mean, I'm not going to give you any guff this week.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I like all those people.
So what else do you have to tell everyone?
I really want to tell all the people how thankful I am for all of them for listening to our show and for saying nice things and for liking all of our posts. Okay. You know, I've noticed this. What? I was listening to an episode recently because I like to listen and hear what we have to say and just make sure that we're not completely embarrassing ourselves with this thing.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is a tone from you.
About what?
About like, hurry up and stop talking, Emily. That's the tone that you give.
Oh, never. I just think that if I was at this point in a podcast, I'd be like, okay, ladies, let's go. Wrap it up.
Then wrap it up, Kim. You do it. You asked me to. You said, what else do you have to say? So I said some things.
Because that's what I say at this part.
I'm like, do it.
I would say that if you are on a game show in the future or now, and you've a hot bod, you should wear your suit and be proud.
Yeah. But I would also say, don't be controversial and kill people.
Yeah, just don't ever.
Just don't do that.
It's never a good idea.
Whether you're on a TV show or you're not.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Guys, don't kill anyone.
Don't kill anyone.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So you can follow us on Instagram at
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. Yeah. We're out there. You found us now. You can find us again. And we love you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Controversial.